Have you ever been watching a Civil War documentary or a movie and been confused by some of the terminology? For example, terminology such as regiment, brigade, division, or even corps. Well, what do those terms actually mean? Well, today we're going to take a quick dive into what those terms actually mean and how many men are in each of those elements, and hopefully understand the American Civil War a little better.
We got a brigade in position, and that's all. We got the best damn ground around there hitting me with one brigade.
All right, so you just heard Brigadier General Buford say they're hitting me with one brigade on the first day of Gettysburg. Well, in order to figure out what a brigade is, we got to get a little smaller, and I'm talking about at the company level. So this is an example of a company, and a company was a basic unit of a Civil War army. And typically, it had approximately 100 men. It was commanded by a captain. Now, obviously, as the war went on, that number of 100 men would be a little less or a little more, depending if they combined companies or if the unit was experiencing attrition. But it's just important to know that a company didn't always have exactly 100 men, but it was pretty close. And another cool thing about the companies is they were lettered A through K. For example, you would have Company A, Company B, Company C, Company D, and so on. Now, something that's also interesting is the letter J was not used because apparently it looked too much like I. But again, the company was your basic unit of the American Civil War Army. So from company, now we progress to a regiment, and a regiment usually consisted of 10 companies. So if you do the math, a regiment had approximately 1,000 men, and a regiment was commanded by a colonel. Now, when you hear the term 20th Maine or the 14th Brooklyn, those are infantry regiments, again, which contain 10 companies. And it's important to note that if a unit only had 4 to 8 companies, it was referred to as a battalion rather than a regiment.
In the Army of the Shenandoah, you are the 1st Brigade. In the Army of the Potomac, you are the 1st Brigade.
So, from regiment, we then progress to a brigade. And a brigade contained about 4 infantry regiments. And a brigade had approximately 4,000 men because there was 1,000 men per regiment. And since there's 4 regiments in a brigade, that would equal around 4,000. And a brigade was commanded by a brigadier general. Union brigades were named with numbers, but Confederate brigades were often named after their current or forming commanding officers, like we're seeing here from a clip from Gods and Generals. General Jackson was referred to as Stonewall Jackson, so his brigade took on the name Stonewall Brigade. So here is just a snapshot of what would be General Pickett's division at the Battle of Gettysburg. And a division was comprised of 3 to 5 brigades. A division had approximately 12,000 men and was commanded by a major general, which would, in this case, would be Pickett. There is some subtle differences between the two armies, the Union and Confederates. The Confederate divisions tended to contain more brigades than the Union divisions. And the Confederate divisions also had twice as many men as the Union divisions had, which is interesting to me because the Union had far more men than the Confederates did. And now we've progressed all the way to a corps. And a corps had approximately 36,000 men and was comprised of 2 to 3 divisions and was usually commanded by a major general, or in the Confederates' case, it would be a lieutenant general. And last but not least, we are at an army now. And an army was comprised of anywhere between 1 to 8 corps, and it was commanded by a general. The Union would name their armies after rivers or waterways, like the Army of the Potomac or the Army of the Cumberland. And the Confederacy named its armies after the states or regions. An example of that would be the Army of Northern Virginia. So that was a very basic crash course into the infantry structures of the Confederates and Union armies. I'm a big fan of simplicity, so I tried to keep it as simple as possible, and I hope you got something out of it. So the next time you're watching a documentary or a new Civil War movie, hopefully you'll have a basic understanding of the units involved and perhaps maybe even understand the battle a little more. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.